Greetings, everyone. This is Joel Gilbert with SAP. Thank you for joining our discussion of the certification of the SAP Analytics Cloud, preparing for certification for the SAP Analytics Cloud. For the next half hour or so, we will be guiding you through the resources available to you for preparing for this certification, talk about the exam itself, and we're actually going to practice a little bit with some sample questions on the exam. What's our agenda? Well, first, how do we get ready for the exam? How do we learn about the SAP Analytics Cloud and practice the skills that we will need to prepare for the exam? Then the process of actually taking the exam. How do we register, schedule for it? And then we want to close our discussion with strategies for how you would take the exam. Some test taking strategies, and we have a couple of people that have actually been part of the development of the exam itself that we'll be able to bring in some tips and tricks with that. So when preparing for the SAP Analytics Cloud exam, we want to combine a couple of things, a couple of areas that you want to go into. First is start with just basic knowledge of the tool, and you'd be surprised at how much of the content actually is in just this one 24-hour class. That's a good portion of the content you will need for the exam, an excellent starting point. It's a free course on SAP, learning.sap.com. And I'll bring that up for you now. 17 units over 25 hours. It's completely free. The only reason you would need to register is if you want to track your progress. Right? So this has very well-designed units, very bite-sized. You can jump around where you want to go. It has quizzes so you can practice. These quizzes were written by the same people that wrote the questions for the certification exam, by the way. And so you can invoke learn. It's a combination of infographics, videos, text, no hands-on practice with the actual system when you get into the this learning journey here. No, you don't have any actual hands-on practice with the tool, but you can get that another way, as I will get to in a little bit. But certainly all the links, by the way, from my presentation will be either in the chat or they'll be posted in comments afterwards, and the slides will be made available through our media share as well. So for example,
sorry, Joel.
Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Is this the same content as the instructor-led course?
Very similar. There's a good overlap. I'm glad you brought it up, Greg. It's a very good overlap. So let's look at that as well. The instructor-led courses that Greg is referring to is another way that you can use, and I'm so glad you brought it up. There are two classes now that map to the certification for the SAP Analytics Cloud. Now, this is not dealing with the planning. We're very clear up front. That's not dealing at all with the planning segment of it. There's a separate certification and two separate courses for that. Perhaps Greg later on, Greg, my coworker that you'll hear in the voice of me, have asked him to join another instructor. We're both instructors here in North America. You won't be seeing him. He's the wizard behind the scenes here for my presentation and our conversation, but he will be available. We'll all both be available via chat if you have any questions on that, or if you're watching this after. Thank you, by the way. If you're watching this after we presented it, we appreciate you coming back and checking us out. Come back to us in the comments. Let us know so that we can address those questions that you said, hey, wait a minute, I would have, if I'd been live, I would have asked that question, even though we are live streaming it. So as Greg was alluding to, there's two courses, there's two instructor-led courses that we have for the SAP Analytics Cloud without the planning bit. And one is the SAC01. Now this, and the reason I really want to hone in on this as probably more so than you want to hear, is because there is some confusion. Last year, this was a 5-day single class. Now it's 6 days of training over 2 separate courses. And I have these here, and I'll have the links as well, either on the chat, or for those that are joining later, we can put them in the comments if we need reminders on those. But the SAC01, and that again, as Greg mentioned, very, very similar to this this course here in the Analytics Cloud learning journey. A high level of overlap in there, a little bit different high level of overlap in there. Then what we did was we split the course out so we could do this. MS stands for modeling and stories. Modeling story, SACMS1, standing for modeling and stories. That is also 3 days, so a total of 6 days. And the reason we broke this out, folks, the reason we did this was so that you would have the ability to change or separate the overall generic SAP Analytics Cloud content from specifically around the modeling and the story development. And that's why we broke it up. And we also had more content that would fit into 5 days, quite frankly. So that's why we switched it out there too. So Greg, you got anything you add on that?
What's customer specific on the slide?
We use that term because, you know, at SAP, we love our acronyms, right? So we just say CST, or customer specific training. So what that means is we could deliver that class. We actually, Greg and I did that last week. We did that for a specific customer, where just one customer, if you have at least say 5 or 6 people that want to take the class, we'll schedule it on your time, virtually or in person. And customer specific could be virtual, could be virtually, or it could be in a classroom situation as well. So that is an option. Yeah, go ahead. So that you could combine those, right? You could combine those two, or we could address that. Now that wouldn't specifically necessarily address certification. It would depend, but go ahead, Greg. Yeah.
Could you tailor the course? So if you didn't want the 6 days and you wanted to say 5 days again, or maybe I don't want all the topics, can we do that?
I love it. I love it. Yeah, great question. So by tailoring the course, in other words, making it more a la carte than a prefixed menu, if you will, we certainly can do that. The only warning that I would have is make sure that you're still, if a portion of that audience is motivated to become certified, make sure that all of the content that's covered under certification is also covered in the tailored training. So if we start taking stuff out, maybe we don't want to do the unit on digital boardroom, say, because we're not licensed digital boardroom at our community. I mean, at our client site, that's perfectly fine. But if there's that would mean we'd want to figure out a way that people get the knowledge about the digital boardroom that they would need for those 3 or 4 questions that might be on the exam if they're going to take the exam. So there, absolutely good point though. Of those 6 days, that can certainly be chopped up or chunked up in such a way that people could tailor it to a specific scenario or situation that people might need. All right. Both of these courses, the ebooks, are available for those of you that have a Learning Hub subscription. And that via that learning, so you could do self-study, the same, you won't have myself or Greg to guide you through it, but you have other resources there too. But with the Learning Hub subscription, you would have access to both of these courses, right? And then you can work on them or you can work through them on your own pace, of course, right? There is learning, I'll get to the learning system access. Again, I'm a little personally ambivalent on renting the learning system access. I'll talk about some pros and cons on that versus simply using a free trial of the software for learning, for getting more hands-on on it. All right. Okay, excellent. So these 2 courses then are available through here. And I'll get to the certification as well. These are the 2 courses that map into this certification. And I'll talk more about this certification. You see these same 2 courses mapping into this certification here. All right. I'll talk more about this screen in a bit when we get to actually taking the exam. Excellent. So practicing, we've gotten some knowledge. Now let's get some hands-on. Let's play around. Let's explore. Let's investigate, experiment with the system. 2 primary ways of doing this. Certainly, it is possible. It is more than theoretically possible. I've actually seen it happen where people can successfully complete a certification exam without ever touching the product. That does indeed happen. Not necessarily recommended, but it certainly could happen. And that's simply because it's the nature of the exams. The exams are not performance-based exams yet. At this point, those are not performance-based exams. These are exams that are based multiple choice. And so there is some element of that, yes, if I study hard enough on these resources, I wouldn't actually ever need to touch the product, right? So the learning system access, if you have a Learning Hub subscription, you can rent these from us at a very, very reasonable rate. And it's like a punch card where you say, I want to have it for a certain amount of time over a certain number of hours over a certain number of days or weeks or months. And then you turn it on and off, the contingent system, turn it on or off when you want to use it. And it maintains your state so it remembers where you were in the middle of stuff. And that's really great. And the other thing is it really has all of the data models and sources that we would use in the class. It's the exact same system, essentially a copy of the exact same system that we would use if you're following the courses, the course step by step through the ebook or through the Learning Hub, say. But it does require a Learning Hub subscription, and there's additional cost for the live, formerly known as Live System App, it's now called Learning Systems Access, right? The other way, the other resource available is the free trial. There's 30 days free trial for that. To do that, I'll bring that up here. Where did I put it? I will bring it up in a second here. I had it on my list and I closed it.
We can get the links for these.
Yes, the links will be coming your way soon. No, that's the other course. All right, I'll bring it back up. Here we go. So it's off the main website. I wanted to do it in a different window for you here too, but it's just this. You'll get to this, and there's a number of inbound links to come to this that would bring you to the same place. But I just wanted to show you what would be involved in here. You go into the register, and that, if you've already registered, you would log in there too. But you do have to register just like you would if you want to do it learning.sap.com. You would register if you want to track your progress. You could, of course, explore for free, but registering is free for that too. It just keeps track of your process. This free trial is a free trial, but it's only good for 30 days, right? The difference there is what you would get with the free trial. So this is the level of information we would need to know, and then you're essentially letting us know who you are so that we can position any marketing messages about if you want to go ahead and purchase a subscription to the Analytics Cloud, and that helps us get the right people involved in that conversation, of course. Right. Now, doing that would not have all of the data models, but you can BYOD, you can bring your own data to that to some degree. You can't link to every possible data source, but you can at least to experiment and do proof of concept within your organization around the SAP Analytics Cloud. Will it meet? Not all features. Some of the digital boardroom, some of the ones that have limited functionality within the free trial, but in terms of our purposes, which is to learn enough to pursue certification, there's plenty of content availability, both in terms of feature and data. There's plenty of content there to familiarize yourself enough to get to the to get some product knowledge and get some hands-on product knowledge.
What's the FKA at the top?
Oh, formerly known as. That's because you know how it is at SAP. We like to change the names, so we'll take a tortilla, we'll take a tostada and we'll fold it in half and we'll call it a taco, and then it'll be a whole new product, right? We love to do that. So yes, it's the same thing. It's just basically renting our education systems from us, Greg. So that's
okay.
A good reminder. That is not an acronym that was made up by SAP. FKA, formerly known as. Sorry, formerly known as. I should have spelled that out on my slide. I agree. That's a good point on that one too. Now, additional learning resources. These are ones through our Open SAP platform. They're massive online learning courses. They are free, self-paced, take them anytime. I put my favorites that relate to the SAP Analytics Cloud. All these links will be available to either again in chat or in the comments to the live stream down below. So what we do here is these are not specific content mentioned in the certification exam. However, they will enhance your understanding of other areas that you might use certainly part of that learning journey, right? And because they are so digestible, particularly the ones around digital boardroom and then this smart analytics, I love it. Really good. If you're into the administrative stuff, eventually this content likely will lead to certification later on down the road, or are part of different certifications already. But as far as the SAP Analytics Cloud Basic Associate, Certified Associate Certification, these are not there, but these would certainly enhance. These would be additional worthwhile resources for people wanting to present themselves with some level of expertise to the community as SAP Analytics Cloud experts.
Okay, what's
right?
the
Greg. Massive online course. Yeah, massive. Oh, what's the extra O?
I don't know.
That's got to put it. Massive online, massive.
Is it a typo?
Yeah, no, it's missing. Multiple organization. Sorry. That's good. It's good. Yeah. I forget the acronym. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Right. MOOC, game. We'll get there. Yeah. Comments on the bottom it teaches there too. The other ones that are available here are the we're on live stream on YouTube, so I wanted to include the analytics SAP Analytics YouTube playlist. Please feel free to use that. I'm not going to show that here now because there's a lot of very topic specific stuff, but keep in touch with that. That's at least worth bookmarking. There are two other places that I wanted to do around social before we close up, Greg, with an actual run through the exam here, but that is cool. The learning community and the learning room. All right, so if I go back here, this is one of the online courses here too. So I'll come back here to the one here and then we'll go with that. So that is here. And then I did the other one, which was in the other one there too, the community, since we're on that. I'll bring in the live one here too. Here it is. I thought I had it up there, but I lost it here to it. This is great for other up-to-date stuff as well as blogs and forums, posting forums to find out what's going on. Best practices, for example, right? More about the planning, other resources. A lot of these I've already pointed you to. And then a specific question, a specific section on the bottom right here for learning itself. So the group 1, 2 there, you know what I'm going to do? Because I realized I didn't give that link to you, Greg. I'm going to put that in.
Oh boy, hold that on to me.
Yeah, that's worthwhile one. Yeah, so to make sure, because I know it's on the slide and we'll provide the slides later, folks, but if just in case, I'll put that in the chat as well too. All right, let's get into the exam itself as we close our journey here. So how do we take the exam? Couple things about the exams: 80 questions, 3 hours, should not take you 3 hours. Even if you're a relatively slow learner, if you're an overanalyzer like I am, no problem. 3 hours should be plenty of time if you're taking that time. Probably, I mean, obviously there's some exceptions, but for most candidates, 3 hours should be way more time than you need. And if you're reading the questions too much, too detailed there, that's going to be an issue. Cut score is fairly low. Cut score, the minimum score to pass, is fairly low. I mean, it's a fairly challenging exam. It is available in English. I think we are adding other languages. I forgot to check if other languages have been added to this quarter or not. I will double check that for you, and I'll add it in the comments afterwards if but I know it's available in English too. It's a combination of multiple choice, multiple response, and I want to talk about those specifically as we move forward here. Multiple choice, 1 of 4, multiple response, 2 of 4, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, something like that. And the good news is they have to tell you exactly how many there are on the correct answers. So yeah, go ahead, Greg.
No true and false?
No true and false. No, but Greg, it's a really good point, because what we're going to try and do, right, is we're going to try and get it down to make it true and false, right? So that would be our objective. So I'm going to go in here, and this is where we want to do is sample questions. I love what we've done with the question mark relationship with the question mark organization here to show you what we're going to do for the last bit of our journey here is Greg and I are going to walk through a dozen or so sample questions on the exam. These are not the actual questions that come on the exam. I'm saying again, these are not the actual questions, but they are written by the same people and they are styled the same way. And we're going to discuss the strategy on how we would approach these questions before we wrap up here. So let's start us out. So I will say view more sample questions, and that will open it up to, and Greg, please do make sure that I actually share this out. I'm viewing it on the YouTube there so we can see it. Okay, good.
So what is question mark?
Question mark is the solution that we use for delivering the test, right?
Oh,
and
okay.
so we're going to talk about the test here before I start this out. That's a good point. Let's go back here. I wanted to make sure I had that slide up before, or that piece of information before. So here, you register for the exam via the certification hub. Make sure you get the correct exam. I'm talking about virtually. You don't show up anymore to testing centers. That's all pre-COVID. Right now, this session, you have to have a compliant browser. There's stuff you need to do ahead of time. So schedule your exam. You know, again, they're going to have somebody monitor you through a webcam. It's not as creepy as that sounds, but make sure you have it. Make sure you have a clear room, no clutter. They're going to ask you to show your webcam around to make sure that you don't have all the answers to the exam pasted on your wallpaper or something like that, and that's fine. And then you're not going to get disturbed, and it's quiet and everything like that. So just a clear, not like my office is here today. Certainly not. That would not be a good place. That's why I have the Zoom background, of course, right? At present, for that, you would need two forms of ID. One has to be government issued with a photo that you would actually show through the proctor that's coming to you through the webcam to do that. All right, so you would register, plan on that a week or so out, register to make sure they have a spot that they can have a proctor for you and stuff, and then have all these things ready. Make sure you've tested, read those emails, make sure you've tested. There's some requirement because you don't want to be stressed out enough about the exam, having all these boxes checked before you get into the actual exam. All right, so now we have done all that. No, we haven't, but we've done all that. Let's pretend we've all done it. And we are going to continue. So now we're contacting our proctor via the webcam, and they say, are you ready to start the exam? They say, yes. Okay, they'll start the exam. So now we're going to start the exam. So Greg is going to be, well, we're going to be both proctor. We're going to be both proctor and taker here as we talk through this, as you'll see.
Oh boy.
Here. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure,
Taking the exam. Oh boy, 1 of 13.
Exactly. So 13 questions here. We're going to try and cover these in about 10 minutes. Before we wrap up and have any other questions that you might have live before we end our stream here. So looking at that for those of you on the line. So let's see. When does SAP recommend you use the agenda presentation for the boardroom? All right. I like these answers. Yeah. I like agenda and meeting. So this is an example of a multiple choice one, right? A multiple where I'm going to have one. Please answer at least one of these questions, at least one. I mean, please don't leave it blank. There's no penalty for guessing. No penalty for guessing. I'm going to talk about a few more test taking tips at the end here, but no penalty for guessing. So I'm going to say, I'm going to say meeting there and check that. If I want to come back to it, then I mark it. I use this flag the question, and that comes back.
Are you sure that's the right answer?
No.
Okay. All right.
Want to explore. What do you like?
Oh, no. Okay, we'll go with yours. Go ahead.
We'll see.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Now here's an example of multiple response. But you see this? Greg? It says 2 correct answers to the question. Folks, if you get nothing out of my half-hour live stream here, please, this. If you take the certification exams, any SAP certification exams, please answer the questions, the number of questions. There's no penalty for guessing. If I come in here, I'm going to do a negative example here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, just one. I'm going to only mark one because I know that snap to grid is one of them and I'm not sure what the other one is, right? That's going to be wrong.
I think it's scaling and page breaks. The snap to grid, I think, is on the builder, isn't it?
Oh, right. Yeah. But I think the problem is if I put 3 down there, I'm
so is it going to tell you did too many or not enough?
Not enough. You won't tell me. See, if I hit next question, it doesn't do that. And if I even go to the assessment navigator, it doesn't tell me that it's only told me I've responded. It doesn't tell me. You can see down here, assessment navigator, it tells me what I have responded to, what I'm on, and other ones. And then of course, if I flag one. So it does not tell me, it's not going to tell you that. You have to mark the correct number of answers. Please give us a fighting chance on that. So I'll do that, whatever. Okay, so yeah, then yeah, that would mark it wrong. Actually, no, I'm gonna uncheck because I know that will be wrong, because that will just, you'll see it on the review one there too. All right, so then I'll move through these other ones a little bit quicker.
Don't do it on purpose. Let's try to pass this.
Yeah, all right, okay, great. All right, good call.
Put your answer back on there. Okay, let's assume that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now on this one, we try and avoid the not, but look out for that, particularly when we localize the exams. You won't see this too often, but when we put the word not, we try and make it big to make it clear. So
not a connection.
Yeah, live won't, no, not store. Live doesn't store data because live is there, right? So that makes sense. Yeah. So you see what we're doing here. The ones that we can go through fairly quickly, we come back. Oh, there's too many. No, I'm going to come back and mark this one. Come back. There's too much text on that. I don't know.
Too many options. Okay.
Yeah, I'll come back here next. Oh yeah. So well, Analytics Cloud, it's got to be, look, here's your true false, Greg. It's got to be cloud only or cloud first, right? It's got to be one of those two. But since we know that the Analytics Cloud,
premise.
Yeah. So, but you've made it a 50-50. You asked about true false questions. By knowing that the word cloud is in here, then maybe that's good. I'm going to go cloud first on that one.
Why wouldn't it be cloud only?
Oh, because we've taken all this training. We've taken all these training courses, and we know that the training courses that we've learned about here, that we can connect to on-premise data sources through connectors. So
that's
yeah,
right.
Yeah. So that's how. Yeah. So it. This one, data analyzer.
I know it's BW queries. Yeah.
Yeah, and views, HANA views, I think, is the HANA Live views of the two there. I'm not sure about that. That's what's data. Very cool tool, by the way. Every data analyzer friend, you get to learn it. Even if you're not getting certified on it, get to learn Data Analyzer. Very cool little application within one of my faves, that and the Explorer, two of my faves inside of the SAP Analytics Cloud for sure. All right, I'm almost halfway done here too. And notice down here in the Assessment Navigator, it actually marks the one that I flagged so I can come back to it. So I can actually come back to it and says, oh yeah, so I want to do this one and I want to do that one. Okay, so then I can go. That's really cool. And then I can jump to another question if I want. And then I can unmark it when I, complete it. I could unmark it to it. 3 out of, there's always, all of these are set up to have it two false. So here's a perfect example. We get into here, so we got about 5 minutes left here, folks. So what I want to do is, which of the following operators select data exfil? But this is the structure of this. Look at the structure of this question, like it, because it's 5, 3 are right. Rather than burn your brain out of 3, do this. Play this little game with me. Greg, which of these are wrong? Which of these are you pretty sure are wrong?
Oh, I just know and the non are more comparative than equal between and contains is my guess.
It's the uppercase. So what he's done is eliminating the bun, but because if you need to get 2 out of 5, you get it by finding the 2 wrong answers, right? So if he's pretty sure that those are wrong, then all I need to do is get the other ones. And that is a better approach when you have 3 out of 5. A better approach is eliminate the negative answers and then check everything else. Love it. Okay. What are these stories? Yeah. Which story templates are available? Yeah. Default story templates. Oh, I don't remember.
I'm thinking the middle two, business and analytics.
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember either. See, and then analytical processes, 3 correct answers again. So I know that we don't do data orchestration. I'm not even sure what that is. And I'm pretty sure that the cloud doesn't do data integration. I know it does. See, again, you see what I did there? I did the 2 that that have the word data in them. No, but I did the 2 that I'm pretty sure were wrong. Right now, I invert it. I should do the opposite and select the other one, saying I'm pretty sure what those ones are wrong. All right, I probably should have marked that one too, but I want to get this through this. Sharing with another user. Oh, we have to grant them rights, don't we? Or do we have to add comments if we want another user on that too?
I'm saying public folders.
Okay, all right, we'll do that. Move it to a public folder. We'll try that.
Sounds
next to it, right? Okay, good. And then 3 more questions to go. To view a datum, I know we're going through this really fast, folks, but this sample is available. This link is available to you, but there you can go through yourself and same questions. To view a model workspace, what combination to do? I just want to get the process done.
Man.
I'm pretty sure it's the last one, model structure and foundation view.
Okay, I'll go with your guess.
That's a good one. You're going to bring with it. It's, it's either foundation. If you got this, there's another true false for you, Greg. If you get it as either foundation view or structure view, or if you know it's data management or model structure, then you got it to a 50-50, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's a good way of thinking about that one too. I know we're moving through these real fast. And last but not least, because I want to have 2 more things to add at the end here.
Enhancing. Yeah, go ahead.
Enhancing, yes. So
Sorting,
sorting,
grouping.
grouping. Okay, let's do it.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
connection change would be different. Yeah. And last not least, we want to show what happens at the end here. Which filter types can we use dynamic and static? Okay.
Yeah, that's
I don't know what a level filter is. Some of these ones is.
No.
Oh, so now I'm in. I can't go next. But what I
No.
can do here is check and make sure I've filled in
I
everything.
think we
But it's
missed
not
one.
tell. It doesn't tell me. Well, it looks like it like that to it, right? I don't know because that I'm on number 13. So it doesn't show you the one you're on, right? So yeah, it's 13. So but I can go back to any one or ones that I flagged. I can go back to theirs, but I'm going to go ahead and submit.
Oh, I think we definitely missed one.
Right. 11 out of 13. But we passed. We still passed.
Woo!
We still passed. But
All
what's
right.
great about this
Good
practice
job.
exam, what's great about it, good for us. Oh, right. Let's take a bow. Good for us, Greg, is what I do is this. I hit the next question. This shows the questions that you missed, and it tells you what the correct answers were. So it was grant, yeah. Okay, I was right about that one. So it's grant user rights to that one. So it tells you which ones are wrong. And no, that's great. And this is good because we wanted to show them. Also, if any of those multiple response ones, we hadn't entered the correct number of answers, or if we'd left anything blank, again, there's no 3-point shot here. It's just, there's no partial credit, no 3-point shot. Every question is worth one, and only one, right? And this one says, okay, so we got one of these right and the other wrong, but we got the question wrong, right? Now that was a perfect example. So I'm glad we did that one to show people that that's what happens with that particular one. All righty, super. So I will now close that one too. We're done. You can take that as many times as you want for practicing.
Make sure you give us the links.
Questions. Oh yeah, I will put the links in here too on the chat or put them on. Okay, now final, before I thank you, is test taking strategies. Last thing is pace yourself. Read every question first. Take within 90 minutes. So if it's a 3-hour course, 3-hour exam, within 90 minutes, you don't have to have answered everything, but at least read through it so you know what you're in. So you know what you can see what you've got. Then use the navigator, the assessment navigator, to mark items you want to come back to. Read the questions carefully, but don't overanalyze. Don't overanalyze, like, oh, but what about this? What about this? What about this? No. Take it as straightforward as possible. Don't argue with the exam. Do not argue with the exam. Please remember to keep breathing. That's always a good when you're taking an exam. And answer the appropriate number of questions. There's no partial credit and there's no penalty for guessing. Answer the appropriate questions. And then the final one I want to share with you is this. Stick with your first impression. Only change your answer if you're at least 99% certain that you read it wrong.
Wow.
That's it. Don't change it. Stick with your initial first impression. Unless I forgot it had not in it. So yeah, obviously change that. All right. I will point to Chess in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us, folks. Greg, you got any closing closing thoughts there?
Nope. Just waiting for those links to come up in the
All righty. All right. I'll stop the share and I'll put that in there. I'll put in the links then too. And I want to thank everyone for joining us for this journey in the SAP Analytics Cloud and in certification. All right.
Thanks, Joel.
Thank you. Where did I put it? If I don't have them, I'll put them in the thing. I closed that window, but I'll put them in the thing there to it. All right. Thank you again, everyone. Put comments down below. Love to hear from you. Let us know what you like. Let us know what we can do better next time. And we will talk to you soon.